People who have completed all the levels in Duolingo, how actually well versed are you in the language? I finished all the levels of Duolingo in German in between taking German courses. I noticed that I learned to pronounce a ton of words incorrectly from learning them only from the app. But I did learn a much more diverse vocabulary than I learnt in class. I would say that I can speak enough to be understood and understand most things in German, but my reading comprehension is probably that of a junior high student. Just finished the Chinese course a few weeks ago. I'd say it's good for the basics. It's given me an idea for how the language works, which will make it easier to learn new stuff in the future. I have a good grasp of basic vocabulary. It was definitely useful, but I'm nowhere near having conversations that aren't very simple. Quite good actually. But Duolingo was not the only thing that helped me. I also watched a lot of TV shows, movies, talk shows, podcasts, etc. It's been about 10 years since I started learning English. Never paid for classes, but also, never had the opportunity to talk with anyone in English yet. Duolingo can only go so far. It's great for the first half years of learning a language, but it should be used as an aid and not an actual teacher. After you learn the basics, it won't help you at all. I found that my Klingon hasn't been as helpful at parties than I thought it would be. Probably a 2/B1 around the time I finished it. However, I also extensively used other material, read short stories, watched movies, talked to people. Duolingo is not the best for learning, but I loved it for what it is: automatically graded exercises. So convenient. Finished French, Italian, German and Spanish trees, 3/4 done with the Mandarin one. I'm fairly okay in Italian, French and Spanish. German is a bit rusty. But I did live a year in France and take a reading course during my PhD in German. So I live in Colombia, aka South America, so we learned English. Also I lived in the Bald Eagle country for 8 years, so I master English. So 10 minutes after I finish my Zoom class I finish it, so I'm basically a master at something I already master. I stopped when every 10 minutes Duolingo threatened to kidnap my family if I didn't log on. Hablo español mucho bueno. Hablo español por un año. Well, the OWL hasn't killed me, but also hasn't given my family back. I have managed to get through the entire level 1 Mandarin, Chinese, course after about 1.5 years. I can have simple conversations at a 5-year-old level, and can read maybe 1,500 words. Well, I skipped a lesson and the next day I found a note stuck on my table with a knife which read, "Looks like you skipped a class." So right now I'm meditating in the Himalayas. I used it to learn Swedish. It helped with reading, writing and speaking, but when it comes to comprehending what is actually being said, it's pretty much useless. This is a great question. Well, my legs are broken and my family is dead, so I've been procrastinating the continuation of my course and I wanna stop, but I'm being held hostage by my streak of 578 days and I can't stop now, so I've been doing practice on the first 3 levels. Oh no, it's 11:56, I gotta do my daily or else I'll need to buy another streak freeze. Bonjour, c'est intelligente moi. Duolingo is good for learning certain things, like pronunciation and vocabulary. It's not good at teaching you grammar or other rules. After completing the French course, 1 star each lesson, I'd say I feel confident at reading signs or menus. I wouldn't be able to hold an actual conversation, but I'd probably be able to get my point across to someone. I'm not all the way finished yet, but I'm fairly close. I learned Portuguese a little over a year ago when I lived in Brazil for a few months. I'm a native English speaker, but being immersed in the language really helps. I just used Duolingo for review and I think it works pretty well for that purpose. I get a little practice each day. I have mastered the art of using Google Translate at lightning fast speed. For Japanese, definitely not. I've tried Duolingo multiple times to learn Japanese and it didn't go great. I could to the hiragana, but then they started shoving sentences at you without explaining any of the grammar. Also, I noticed when I took an actual Japanese class in college that some of the pronunciations they taught were wrong too. I've just started with French on the web-based Duolingo site. I'm enjoying learning more vocabulary, but I do get frustrated that it doesn't really explain the grammar rules. My goal is to have a conversation with my French-speaking relatives for Christmas 2021. I'm going to have to get over my fear of speaking other languages to native speakers. French will be language number 4 for me. I get super anxious of being laughed at for making mistakes. It really bums me out. I would love to talk to more people in their home language. Duolingo is great for vocabulary, I feel, but definitely won't take you very far by itself. My father-in-law has been using it every day several times a day, and he can now put sentences together of the language he's doing, and it's honestly impressive how much vocabulary and understanding he has. I finished the Danish tree. To date, the only conversations I've had in Danish have been with the Thai women in Denmark and the Chinese woman in China. 402 days into Japanese, and the recent updates make me dislike it. It went from being an awesome tool to like sesame seeds. Maybe cool in a little bit, but you don't eat just handfuls of sesame seeds. If an app is kinda bummy free, why would I van pay to enhance what I'm not enjoying? I'm gonna get some books, and immerse myself in more media. Mi español es muy abuelo. I've used Duolingo and I've actually taken classes for languages. I feel like Duolingo is almost completely assessment. There are very few actual lessons. I think Duolingo can be useful in conjunction with other language learning methods, but it's not enough on its own. I started learning French 150 days ago. I can understand casual conversation with my French-Canadian roommate and with my so who lived in Belgium for years. I can't pronounce things very well, but I'm currently at an intermediate level of understanding. I also listen to music in French every day, and if I watch TV I switch it to French if possible. Started out a couple of months ago with Madeline and other kids shows. Now I can understand adult movies. Oh hell yeah, I can answer this one. I completed all levels of the Mandarin Chinese course in exactly 1 year while living in China, after also completing all the courses in Memrise. After the 1.5 years of Chinese study between the two apps, I am able to speak some basic level Chinese and hold simple conversations with native Chinese speakers. My tones are still off, but getting better and better as I continue to speak more. Plus, Duolingo also teaches the Chinese script, so I can read enough Chinese to navigate streets and read menus. No books yet though. Currently looking to enroll in a university course to learn Mandarin formally and with some more rigor. Kind of hit a wall after completing the two apps and haven't really been able to make much more progress on my own. I am on my 455 day of Spanish. I just watched Gentified on Netflix and I could only understand a little, but that just pushes me to keep going. Nice ad. I finished Korean, and it did not help me a lick. Like, the majority of it was well below my level, stuff I already knew, but a lot of it that was new to me did not stick at all. Maybe good for learning the very basics, but pretty much useless otherwise. I'm halfway through the last level, 7, of Turkish, which is probably one of the poorest courses in terms of number of units. I can now get probably a 30% understanding of written sentences from books and songs, and still only about 2 to 3% of conversational content, movies, etc. I have a 1215 day streak on French. I think it helps quite a bit in terms of how to use the language in the real world. I also have French at school, but there we only learn the theory, so Duolingo links that with the real world. Obligatory not me but my grandma. She started using Duolingo about 5 years ago to learn Spanish. I took formal Spanish classes from age 9 till age 15, I'm now 27. She and I are at about the same level of skill with the language. Our grammar is atrocious, but we can be understood when we speak, and we have large enough vocabularies to get by in simple conversations for the most part. We both understand better than we speak. Yo hablo español. Japanese. Never had a chance to use it since I didn't go to Japan until 5 years after completing it. Now I need to wait until they have a Thai language course.